Hey gamers, J-Rad here with more coverage from the Season 2 Finals Day from Good Games Brisbane. Today we are bringing you the first of our top 4 games in which we see Dan and his Targ Maesters take on Lynn and his Stark Siege. The format for this tournament was a 3-round Swiss with a cut to a top 4. Now we're going to get straight into these top 4 games to try and get to the final as soon as possible.
Because, as we all know, that is the only game that matters.
Now I'm joined here today by special guest T-Chuck. If you guys have checked out our website, you will have seen T-Chuck is our resident blogger and House Targ enthusiast.
Don't mention pie.
Yeah, hi all. Shame couldn't make it to this event myself, but it was good to see the 3 fellow Wildfire gaming peers all made it to the final 4.
And as usual, we have Dan, the Dirty Greyjaw, here to offer his colourful thoughts.
You're welcome. It is important to point out that for Lynn, this was his first Game of Thrones tournament, and he is a new player to the game, so for him to be able to make it to the top 4 is really a great achievement for him.
Well done, Lynn.
Yeah, hope to see you playing in the next championship when I get a chance to play as well. I'll have a good game against you.
And I'd just like to give a shout out to some of the other new players we had rock up on the day. We had a fair few first timers there who managed to borrow some decks off the veteran players, and you know that's a really good, fun environment that AGoT provides, and everyone had a great time. And you know, as we see, Lynn made it to the finals. Now let's get to it. Okay, so now we have the setup. We've got Stark and Targaryen. I've got Rob Stark and Jogo out. That seems like a great matchup.
Oh, that Rob Stark's a bit scary.
He's the kill someone because he feels like it one. We have Jogo to draw cards.
Yep.
It's an interesting choice to use that Rob in this deck. A good card, no doubt, but the 2 strength can often make him susceptible to various controls, including many that Targ have at their disposal.
Could easily be burned. And the fact is, this Stark Siege has a lot of ways to kill characters. Do they really need that extra one?
It is a bit of a risk checking him out first turn before any plots have come out, but thematic-wise, it fits.
Yeah.
It leads the charge.
Yeah.
It is important on a siege deck to get military strength out as quickly as you can, or else it defeats the purpose of having the siege in the first place.
This is true. Now we have plots here. We have the Tyrant Square for Stark.
Raising claim for a military challenge.
Yep.
And at the gates to search for a Maester. And we see Marwyn coming out.
As usual, Marwyn. I'm sure there'll be a dupe to follow.
Probably a fairly good bet that there will be at least one more copy of this in Dan's hand, the Targ hand, already here.
Well, he's a very important character in the deck. He normally holds him back until he can at least get one duplicate out on him. Now, the ability on Marwyn, I mean, it's a nice ability, but how often do you actually trigger it? It's more for the unique Maester, am I wrong?
That's exactly right. 3 strength, good icons for what he does, and yeah, ability to keep him safe through various effects.
Indeed. Okay, so we see some good income here for the Targ player. Unfortunately, Stark, not so much, but you know, they really don't need too much to get going, the old Stark. Once they can get some high claim reds, it's all she wrote, really. So we've got Stark Siege going second on this one, even though they've won initiative. Targ places out his cards, then his chambers. That's a nice one to get attachments back.
For me, Stark Siege against a Targ control deck is probably not that bad a matchup for Stark, but this Maester's deck is a different breed altogether, really. And with Lynn not being what we'd call a
experienced
player, might be a little bit tricky for him to keep up with all the triggers that Targ Maesters has.
We have the important Rusted Sword straight onto Marwyn. It's a good one to see early.
So now it's a Tricon with 5 strength.
Tricon with 5 strength. Now I believe the other important card you're looking for is the Tourney Grounds, is it?
Fighting Pit.
Fighting Pit.
So we can stand him up.
It stands any character with a weapon or dragon, is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. And non-unique, so you get 3 of those bad boys out and it's a party all around.
Oh, wow. Lucas Blackwood comes out. Now, this could be some crazy first-turn Stark aggression here, but looks like we're not going to see that.
As soon as I see Lucas Blackwood, I freak. I know what he can do.
We have had a lot of history in our Wildfire gaming tourneys with Lucas Blackwood causing all sorts of havoc.
Yes, indeed.
Definitely expecting to see House Umber Berserkers But when I didn't, I was quite happy. And Dissension there, taking that hand out, that military strength out that Stark Siege needs so much.
It's definitely going to make a big impact considering the plot Stark has running first turn. Limits down to 2 military strength on the board right now.
That's right.
So attempting, is that a stealth or on
That'll
tier
be-
thing? Look, going for the unopposed stealth of Rob Stark there by the looks.
And here we go.
We see a trigger and we see lethal counterattack to
Ouch.
kill off Jogo.
There goes Jogo.
Now this is, I actually like this move. Jogo is a big source of card draw for this Targ deck, and now he's dead. You're left with 1 character on the board.
Well played, Lynn. Well played.
Yeah, that's a good move there. Prevents also the win of the challenge there, which is important on this Maesters deck to get the chains off the Maesters path, which is required to win the game for Targaryen.
This is true. It also leaves Targ with a bit of a, what do I do now?
No more
situation.
challenges from Targ there. Can't win. Got to defend against Rob. And we'll see what Lynn does.
You can go for a power or military gear. Both can be defended.
No challenges at all there. So dominance to Targ.
Mr. Targ, we go to next plots. Okay, so it was a pretty uneventful first round. Only 1 power on the board for Targ. Okay, Forgotten Plans, the Song of Bale the Bard. Unfortunately, that doesn't wipe it, because Bale the Bard is only active during the plot phase, so its ability anyway.
Targaryen going for a bit of trait manipulation here, which could mean either a Jorah or a Dario Naharis.
Maybe another dissension.
So
Indeed.
exactly.
Now, with Rob on the board, you choose to target Lucas Blackwood.
I'm telling you, man. As soon as I see Lucas Blackwood, I'm freaking out. He is crazy. He's done so much damage to me before, and I've got to get him out. I've got to get rid of him.
There's definitely some deep-seated Lucas Blackwood issues going on for Targ here right now.
I'm confident that if they had made Lucas Blackwood the King in the North, that we would have seen a different story.
Oh, well,
Spoiler alert
let's
there.
not get too far into those. We don't want to cause too much drama. Okay, then we have Stark here, marshalling. We've got some sea action going on. Another Borderlands keep, which can be discarded from play to cancel an action, a triggered effect during a military challenge.
So yeah, cancel a save.
Cancel a save. Cancel
Cancel
an event card to be
a
played.
paper shield against a no quarter or die by the sword. The Stark Siege.
Pretty much any,
Killing.
it's triggered response.
And
Yeah.
So any save mechanism in place can be cancelled by those
Someone-
keeps. Which
Someone
is,
will be dying if he wins a military challenge.
And there indeed is the drawer to discard the now ally, Lucas Blackwood.
Or the Explorer coming out and taking care of business for me.
And he's a Tricon with, is it 2 strength?
3 strength.
3
there.
strength. With joust,
With
isn't
joust,
it?
yeah.
Value right there. So that is all his marshalling, and he brings
Shadows
Sirio
action.
down in the challenges phase. Nice Sirio Pharrell.
A little bit of stealth there. Looks like he's going to be able to push through a military challenge here at this stage.
Yeah, the stealth is going to help, though.
There's only 1 stealth out there at the moment, and currently Marwan has the 5 strength with the rusted sword, so
Stealth him out and go in with both and win that military challenge, and
That
Rob
does
can
look like
trigger
the
his
only
choose
way.
and kill.
It does look like the only way that the military could get forced through here.
but we have an influence now here, which generally means there's a rusted sword on the way.
Oh yeah.
Which of course can be played during marshalling, or you can kneel 1 influence and bring it out anytime you want.
I did want to save that for Marwyn and have him dual welding swords, but
As we know, all
Gotta-
Maesters,
got to do what you got to do.
dual wielding is a required thing for Maesters these days.
He reached level 5 and he got that skill, so I might as well use it.
So Lynn probably showing a little bit of his inexperience at this stage, and just the way the board's fallen for him is not ideal. So
It's not. He's been out militaried by a Targ deck right here, which is never what you want to see as a Stark player.
By a bunch of masters with books. Sorry, Lynn. You've done a great job to make it here, and the way you play this game is he's doing it smart. He knows that if Targ wins a challenge, they can take chains, and that's how they're going to win the game. So he's doing his best to stop that.
Yeah, he's just got to bide his time here. If he can get enough characters on the board, get a kill on Marwyn, potentially Valor, he can reset this board for himself.
That's right.
Lynn did actually play against you, Dan, in the Swiss, did he not?
He did, and wasn't happy about the way it went. So he's learnt a bit here, and he's playing it a bit differently, which is good to see. He's an adaptive player, and he's good at this game, especially for such a new player.
So we do see the power challenge go through. It's unopposed, and Lynn takes one off Dan's house. He doesn't claim the unopposed because of his agenda.
Yeah, really, this agenda for Lynn and the Stark player requires military strength, and unfortunately, with the way this deck has been set up, he just can't get those challenges through.
Obviously, the intrigue coming out of the Maester here. Obviously, discarding cards from Lynn's hand will further limit the resources available to his comeback here, so good strategy.
Well, we can see a bit in his hand there. I think I saw 2 no quarters.
I think I also saw a card which potentially could be played, and here it comes now.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go, guaranteeing the opposed, slowing power grab down.
Indeed, so you don't get the unopposed here. You will get the activation for the chain, however, which is nearly as good for the Maesters to see. You do get no quarter.
Pulling no quarter, wow. Glad to see that going.
That is definitely what I want to see getting discarded from the Stark player's hand.
Yeah, a former restricted card, just to highlight its potential strength. It has been taken off that list now, but yeah, in this particular type of deck that Lynn's playing, it's very, very effective card, the no quarter.
Indeed, they took no quarter and Bear Island off the restricted, I believe, in that one fact.
Yeah, well, Stark really did need that help, didn't they? Like they were struggling anyway.
Yeah, it's two very nice cards. And then they do take Pentoshi Manor off Lannister too, which I thank them for.
Oh, wow.
And we see Jorah the Explorer going in here.
Military challenge, knowing you can win it.
Surio Farrell does offer the token defense there, just to make sure the unopposed card is on spike, and we get another chain attachment for our Targ. Cruda gets claimed here, and what chain is that? The Steel Link, which kneels to draw 2 cards if you have 3 or more chains on that character already.
Doesn't quite have the chains set up yet, but dominance goes to the Targ player for the gold, left in the gold pool. This Caitlin Stark will eventually go back into the hand of the
There we go, pointing
Stark
it out.
player.
Now we do see some good kneel effects though on Marwyn right now. He can trigger his kneel with the draw, and is the trait manipulation kneel to give traits or after kneel?
After he kneels,
After
you
he
can
kneels.
trade,
So that's the synergy there.
It's great. Here we have well, you can see the plots there. Can't declare intrigue challenges on his own plot card, and Lineage and Legacy were saying that you have to win a power challenge before you can do a military.
Something of a rare occurrence there, particularly in the 3rd round, is actually having to toss a coin for the to decide an initiative.
Indeed.
Personally, I always go for the dragon. It never leads me astray. You see Carrion Bird here for the Stark player, who is taking the first turn.
If you've got a choice to pick dragon or heads, you're always going to pick dragon. Let's be real.
So, Stark player here in an interesting situation with a 2-claim plot card, but in a situation where he really just needs to prevent as many challenges occurring as possible, and actually needing to win a blue challenge.
It is only 1-all on the power front there, but as you can see, the board presence does seem rather in favour of the Targaryen player.
And Aegon's Blade can change all that power.
To further make Marwyn a boss, he now gets +2 strength, stealth, and renown.
Great attachment.
So, how does Stark get back from this? What does Stark need to do to get back in this game?
It can happen quickly. They can Nightmares Marwyn, kill him. You've seen the multiple kill effects. As long as Marwyn is there to stop a military challenge going through, then there's a good chance that Targ is okay, but they can easily... Stark has so many ways to win that military challenge. They pull the one off, and it could change everything.
Now, I will mention that Nightmares, for anyone who's not aware, does blank a character or location text box for the phase. Now, The reason this is so good is that most of those chains are Maester character only, and if Marwyn loses that trait thanks to blanking, they all fall off.
But of course, I choose the Apprentice Collar for my first attachment to get around that.
Which is always a pain. So you need a winter mirror to blank both, which would be fantastic right now.
Well, that would do it, yeah. It's got a card in Shadows there. No, not yet.
Not yet.
But, yeah. Either that or you make him a bastard.
A very effective move, that. Okay, so we see the intrigue going here for Marwyn. Stealthing Rob. Don't see. Kayla does come down again for the opposed.
Important to note there that Stark went first and declared no challenges, knowing that could not win the pout challenge.
This is true. The way this plot deck has formed for this this round, it's very structured. Power before military, and no intrigue challenges for the Stark. It does lead him to declare no challenges.
Also managed to discard a second no quarter in that intrigue challenge as well, in which further diminishes the Stark player's ability to get some kind of military control over the Targaryen's board.
2 no quarters discarded from intrigue challenges. That's got to be feeling good.
I'm not going to lie, it felt good to see that go.
It's not often that happens.
It was a huge relief.
So now if you can maybe pull this the next lethal counter-attack out of the hand, you'll be quite happy.
Yep. Just another strength boost there.
There is a limit to 3 copies of each card in a particular deck too, so not seeing too many arms crests out there for Die by the Swords, so chances are half of the military events that the Stark player could play to get some sort of control back onto the Targaryen's deck have now been discarded.
We do see, is that a dupe of Jorah on the field?
Yeah.
So even a Valor right now is only going to discard duplicates and no actual killing will be done.
But another 2 claim.
These repeated 2 claims could have the desired effect if we can just see some challenges get through.
Well, I think the issue for the Stark player playing Valor at the moment is, as you pointed out, the characters on the board have duplicates. So at this stage, he would be hurting himself far worse than he would be hurting the Targaryen player. And while the power count is fairly low at the moment, an empty board for a Stark player here could mean a very fast power drive from the Targ player.
This is very true. Very true. And we do see the cost-reducing 2-claim plot, I believe, from Stark.
That's right. First character, reduced by 2. He's got to think if he can win a military challenge here, he can 2-claim, he's going to get copies of each of them off. Rob can target kill, potentially, hopefully kill one of them, or another character who I play, and he can Valor next round and clear the board, hopefully.
Do see
However, there's a trait manipulation trigger here, I'm guessing, so my guess is either, once again, another Dissension or a Dario Naharis could be coming out to discard Rob from play, which would be fairly disastrous for the Stark player here, and that is what is going to happen.
That is unfortunate. Rob, of course, would have been nice for the kill effect. However, what Stark really needs to see is some characters with some keywords. A deadly or a stealth right now would be really, really useful.
I personally think that was Rob's his own fault for becoming a traitor against the Starks.
I was about to mention that Dan is the sort of person that would have used the traitor trait on Rob then, as opposed to the knight trait, which would have been just as effective given Nario's ability to discard one of those 2.
Most definitely. If the Starks had listened to me from the beginning and made Lucas Blackwood their leader, then we probably wouldn't have had this problem.
We wouldn't be in this situation, I see. Caitlin does get...
Actually played in marshalling, which means that she doesn't bounce back to the hand anymore. However, probably a sign that things aren't really going the right way for the Stark player, that he's had to use his 2 reducer plot card to actually get Caitlin out on the board, although given that the Targaryen player Dan has seen her now, it's not going to be a surprise when she comes out. But it does leave us susceptible to various
Needle, though,
triggers.
does give her +1 strength and stealth, which helps.
And there goes Sirio.
And there goes Sirio being discarded by Dissension. Not a much seen card, I will admit, but very effective in a trait manipulation deck like this.
Yes, well, we haven't seen it too much in our general play, but I've heard good things about it worldwide.
Indeed. Yeah, we haven't seen it much in our meta. I believe you're the only one to really use it. Well, this one, though, it seems to be quite popular. To be a Dragon. Fantastic card.
Joe goes back in.
If there's a card shortlisted for potential future restriction, there is one right there. Very powerful version of the Tabia series as far as compared to some of the other houses.
I think if we're just talking restrictions, why don't we just ban the whole deck, to be honest? This has been a very successful deck for Dan. I believe he's taken down most of our Wildfire gaming group with this particular one. And we're looking forward to him playing something else, I will admit. Okay, so we see a very one-sided board here. It is only 4 power to 0, but the controller's definitely very one-sided right now. Obviously, Targaryen can't actually win the game until they remove all those chains off their agenda. So there's real no point to rush too quickly. He just wants to make sure the control is continued and that he has the board presence until he gets all the chains off and can just win the game.
It really does, the Mace's Path card, stop an opponent from declaring challenges unless they are wins, because a lot of the time you would declare challenges against this Targaryen deck to try and at least get characters knelt, even if you can't win the challenge. But all that does is just make the Maester, in this case Marlon, a lot more powerful, and he's just rolling through now, and very little the Stark player can do to defend it. So needs a game-changing move fairly quickly here, or things will just get way out of control.
Indeed, I'd actually link I'd mention all the chains on Marlon right now, but honestly, there's too many to count.
I'd say he's definitely over 10 strength at this stage, if not more.
+2 from the sword, +2 from the second sword he's dual wielding, and then +1 for each chain thanks to Apprentice Collar.
It's not actually dual wielding because that went on to Jorah, I believe.
I believe they have 2 Rusted Sword and an Aegon's Blade on.
True.
One Rusted Sword, one Blade.
Marwood is swinging around with 2 swords, one in each hand, and an Apprentice Collar. So he's well over 10 strength, I think.
Well over.
Looks like there is actually a strength count going on as we speak, so which I'm sure if we had audio here, you'd hear a rather big sigh coming from the left side of the screen.
It does look like it is all she wrote, but Stark is the house of great returns, I should say.
He's only at 5 power at this stage, so there's still a fair way to go.
This is true, but with these control style decks, it's a format where once you've got grip, you just as long as you don't let go, it should be a very very straightforward finish.
We'll see what happens.
Obviously, the counter to these control decks is in most formats Rush, which can tend to win the game before control even gets their hooks in. Which Dark Siege is capable of, just maybe not this round.
Not this round.
What Stark needed to do is get that military presence out early and inflict some damage, which wasn't the case in this game. But if he can somehow manage to get that military presence out on the board still, and Neil, with Marlon not having the standing location yet out in play.
And there's Val. Oh, and
it has been outwitted.
So
tough call whether or not to trigger outwit here. Caitlyn there could be killed, but I do decide to.
Trigger outwit.
I'm feeling pretty good with the way that it's going, so...
Yeah, with this situation, there's 2 reasons I can think of. One is, as you say, things are looking fairly stable for the Targaryen player, so why trigger something that could change the game? The other reason could be to do with what was expected to happen the next turn or the turn after.
Exactly, I know I've got my own valid. Want to keep those dupes out.
Flank, now this is a card that I've been looking for Stark to get down.
Now this could change things.
This is the military presence, don't kneel to attack, has deadly, which means any defenders, unless there is, although Marwyn does have trait manipulation, but not keyword manipulation. So that deadly will make it more difficult for the Targaryen player to defend the challenges.
Indeed. Now, flank does not kneel while the opponent controls an agenda, I believe, so this is the reason that he is going to be a big help to Stark here. I believe there is another one that doesn't kneel to defend if no opponent is running an agenda. They have one for each one, I believe.
That's correct. It's the attacking one that generally gets used. Obviously, in a siege deck, is about military attacking strength.
5 strength, 2 icons. Deadly is definitely not a bad card to get down.
So we see some deadly and some stealth going into this challenge here. So to take the character with the dupe off to force something to die if it's defended.
Finally, there was no quarters in the hand.
Alright, die by the sword.
Die by the sword would have been good here as well. There is now an arms character out, so that would be a potential here. But I guess the other thing that the Targaryen deck has been able to do is to keep the cards in hand. I think they may have actually been depleted completely from the Stark player's hand, so there is no danger of an event coming his way. So right move there is to probably let unopposed go through and take no claim with Valor. So
this is true, there is no claim because it is a Valor turn. However, it would have been really nice to see some no quarter die by the swords come down. Unfortunately, with the consistent intrigue challenges from Targaryen, the hand has been utterly pillaged.
Another reason why it's fairly imperative in this matchup for Stark to get that military presence out as quickly as possible.
Watching back over this, all I can say is that Caitlyn should be dead right now. She's got the sunstroke in. Fortunately, I didn't decide to trigger that.
That is a missed trigger here by the Targaryen player. Now, these things do happen when you're trying to keep track of 10, 11, 12 chains and all these different things that the Maesters do have to trigger all at once.
At this stage, I'm not too concerned. Let's just say I kept it on there as a psychological ploy.
Eventually, this will happen.
You just wanted to make your Valor more effective next turn, or whenever if you need to actually get to the point of having to play that card.
Now, Jago is back out on the board thanks to 2-Be a Dragon, so he is going in for his stealth, and he draws a card, getting the card draw up there for Targaryen. I believe with the 2 from the chain attachment, and the 1 from...
Lynn's decided to trigger here his Borderlands Keep to stop me from taking that chain, trying to slow me down a bit.
Indeed.
So all about just trying to stay in the game here. Obviously he has that won his first military challenge now that he has the flank out. So he's determined to keep going.
And we finally see Khal Drogo. So Khal Drogo does come into play after the challenge. After the Targaryen player wins a challenge.
A bit like Caitlyn did there before.
A bit like Caitlyn, he does have stealth on him. 2 icons. He's a lovely character to see in this sort of style of deck. Bouncing in and out, helping you when needed, then returning back to your hand for safety.
He's going to help me win this power challenge right now.
Of course, Caitlyn is 4 strength thanks to Needle, and she does have stealth, so she can't be bypassed there by Khal Drogo.
So we see Drogo and Viserys working there together. Quite a strange thing.
The Targaryen is definitely ruining all the lore in this deck, that's for sure.
It's funny how some decks, the going against the standard lore, actually makes sense in some ways. We've seen some, over the past year or so, some very interesting, anti-lore combinations have some very good success in the game.
It's true.
This is true. I believe we've seen some Martell Brotherhood. We've seen some
Lannister Brotherhood.
Which is, well, I don't even want to think about it.
Maybe the guys at FFG know something that we don't know, or perhaps even something that George doesn't even know.
Surprises yet away to say, I do believe.
The deck I've got planned works out. It'll be one of 3 elements that you would never expect to see together. Come good.
keep an eye out for that article on the website coming soon.
Indeed. A deck reveal, I believe, is in order.
Yeah. Well, I am stepping on another particular house's toes. The particular person sitting on my right is more familiar with than I am.
Be cool. We'll have
Be
to
cool.
see it.
Dan, the resident Greyjoy, is up in arms right now.
I do not so.
Although he is playing my Targaryens here in this game. So.
That's true. All's fair.
Interesting to see the Greyjoy plot sleeves too in the Targaryen deck.
Always need to represent House Greyjoy no matter what deck I'm playing, so yeah.
And then I do believe we're out of chains on the Master's Path agenda here, so the win is open for Targaryen now if he can get to the needed 15 power.
Sitting on 10 power, yeah, with Renown out there on Marwyn, who knows? If I can pull out one of those fighting pits, then it should be able to speed up a bit.
That has been something that has slowed you down this game. I've deck tested this deck with you many times before we came to this tournament, and it was not very often you didn't see a fighting pit within the first few plot phases.
With 3 of them in your deck, I believe too, not getting one out at this stage of the game is fairly unusual.
That's right. Well, that's what's making it go so long, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it's a very consistent deck, this one, I believe, because you get to take the 9 chain attachments out before setup. You're really playing with a 51 card deck.
That's it. That's what makes me always be able to dupe up Marwyn and get out what I need.
I do believe this is quite a popular.
The Rusted Maesters archetype is one that has been used before. It's well established, and yeah, it's all about making little tweaks to what you think is going to be effective.
I believe there is another version of this deck that does use the dragons instead and uses the dragon attachment to get Balerion the Black into play for free,
which is always good for a round.
It's always fun to see Balerion pop out and just kneel everyone.
Another dissension there.
That would be the third one, so that's Dissension's out of the game for now.
And that has got rid of the Northern Cavalry flank, which was really the thing that was keeping the Stark player with any sort of chance of getting military presence back on this board. He does have 2 stealth characters out there now with the Carrion Birds, but...
That deadly and not kneeling to attack with 2 military challenges would have been amazing.
Especially with the 2 Carrion Birds in there, being able to offer a Stealth Freaks challenge would have been quite beneficial. However, the control shows itself again as being dominant and, as needed, discard the card to really help himself win the game.
It could all change still, though.
Yeah, the other interesting thing is obviously with the Stark player going first with the plot card of Targaryen Hero of Stoic Resolve, meaning that Nelt players can't be killed, is actually probably at this stage an incentive for the Stark player to kneel his characters out and allow the unopposed challenges. But despite being an inexperienced player, I doubt we'll see Lyn fall for that trap.
Well, if he does, I believe the unopposed plus the renown will just let Targaryen win the game.
That'll see the game out. So I think Lyn's seen that here and made the right choice to pass some challenges. And
then we do have Pyre Pre here for his ability to target kill someone. So Caitlyn might not be long for this world, as she seems like the other big threat on the board for Stark right here.
Jogo once again coming in for his own military challenge.
Stealthing at it, here. It's the only card able to with the 2 Carrion Birds having stealth, and of course you can't stealth a stealther.
Now, all the Borderlands keeps have been discarded, so there's no way to cancel this on the board right now for Stark. You see the draw.
You see there my psychological ploy from earlier of keeping Sunstroke on Caitlyn has worked, as Lyn decided not to defend that military challenge and allowed me to claim a power for unopposed, even though he had the stealth there.
And once again, Khal Drogo and Viserys working together like a boss team. This brings back memories of when I had Rhaegar Targaryen and Robert Baratheon together.
And I thought that was a bad combo.
And we just lost all our subscribers. Thank you.
I want to apologise to all viewers.
We do not support T-Chuck's methods here at Wildfire Gaming.
And
Edmure Tully going in for the power challenge.
Defending that. Stop being an unopposed.
See 12-1 here in our first top 4 game. So it seems like it seems like Targ are going to be following this all the way through to the finals in the hopes of claiming that lovely Lannister Casterly Rock mat we have on the left there.
It's more about the pride of being able to claim first place at this stage, I think.
I do. I believe the other top 4 game happening right now, which we didn't get on camera, is myself versus our other Wildfire Gaming crew member, Nick. And that is Martel Quinton versus
Stark
No
Winter.
Agenda.
Stark No Agenda,
Yeah.
with Mage, yeah. That was a fantastic game, and obviously in the finals you'll see who came through to that one.
But yeah, this victory for Dan will hopefully victory. It looks pretty much a foregone conclusion now, particularly with that Valor Morghulis coming in with so many dupes on the table for the Targaryen
I
here.
believe he only actually loses 3 characters.
That will actually guarantee a Wildfire victory at this event, which is fantastic.
Indeed, it's not a bad turnout for our first major tournament.
Good Wildfire Gaming.
Good Wildfire.
So, top decking, which is obviously when you've got no cards and you can only draw what you get in the draw phase, is what the Stark player is now. So, the 2 cards that he has got, he has been able to play, which does give him a little bit of military presence, but given that Marlon is still out there and the boss he is, and
He's immune to events and attachments. So, yeah, that's another renown there.
Very few triggers now, even if the Stark player did have cards in hand too.
That's it.
And Leighton himself has Cannot Be Saved.
That's correct.
Yeah. I'd just like to say thank you to Lynn for being such a fantastic participant in the tournament. Dan mentioned earlier it was one of his first games with the Game of Thrones LCG in a tournament venue, and he did very well to make it to the top 4.
Yeah, well, look out for him next time as he learns the game more. He's just going to get better and better.
Could take it all the way next time. You never know.
Then Lady Daenerys' Chain is finally getting a chance to trigger with Sunstroke.
She's
Being
been
in
out
the
there since the
Scarfire.
start, and that's the first time.
Now, even without claim on the Targaryen side here, with only 2 power to go, it should be a simple renown and opposed to...
2 renowns, unopposed, on 2 different challenges. Lynn going first, though.
So, trying to think of any particular move he might have.
No cards in hand.
The guard at Riverrun, I don't even think can attack if I'm right.
Yeah,
or
there
is
you
he
go.
attack? He just gets very strong in defence.
Yeah, +2 I believe in defence.
Lynn is
So here
up there.
comes the power challenge with the unopposed, 2 renowns.
That's a win for Targaryen. And I guess we'll be seeing you guys for our final game, which will be, we now know, Dan, and we'll leave the rest a surprise. We'll have to watch the next video, guys. We'll see you then.
So yeah.